Hello again, Joe Kelch here for the video newsletter brought to you by Qualtronics Incorporated with corporate headquarters at Richland Center, Wisconsin. Well, today we have quite a program for you once again. We're going to be talking about new products. There'll be a segment on the Houston Tracker. We'll have the story on the multi-coupler, the Luxor receiver lines, an insight into tracking of the antenna, and much, much more, including the Qualtronics sweepstakes.
Here it is, a beautifully efficient Nova satellite TV receiving system, and it can be yours as the prize in Qualtronics sweepstakes. The system includes a rich black M120 mesh antenna, a quality Luxor 9550 receiver, coupled with a Luxor 9534 actuator for effortless satellite selection. 2 remote Luxor eyes permit satellite and channel selection from 3 locations in your home, a 100-degree of OnTech LNA, and a P1 polar rotor by Chaparral. A top-of-the-industry satellite TV receiving system, and it can be yours in the Qualtronics sweepstakes. Enter now. On a 3x5-inch card or plain piece of paper, print your name, address, and phone number. Then indicate whether you're a dealer or consumer by printing dealer or consumer on the card. That's all. Send the entry to Qualtronics, Box 637, Richland Center, Wisconsin, 53581. The offer is void where prohibited by law. Shipping, delivery charges, and taxes are not included in the offer. Deadline is December 1st, 1984. Great products, great opportunities, more reasons to depend on Qualtronics for quality antenna systems.
Hi, I'm Jim Atkinson, and we're here to discuss the stainless steel antenna. Here at Qualtronics, we feel the antenna is the most important part of the satellite receiving system. And that's the reason we have chosen stainless steel as our leader. We use 16 gauge number 304 stainless steel as the material in the reflective surface. The reflector is made by a hydroforming process. That's the reason for the super smooth surface, creating the most accurate surface possible in an antenna on the market today. The parabolic reflector itself is a one-piece, eliminating the time of assembly and also assuring you of maximum parabolic efficiency. The surface of the microwave reflector is a satin finish, eliminating the need for painting or putting a finish coat on the surface itself, which will eliminate any need for any future maintenance. The stainless steel reflector has a factory-formed outside perimeter, increasing the entire reflector integrity. All Qualtronics stainless steel antennas have a 10-year factory warranty, assuring you, the dealer, of a quality product, and also your customer that he has got a quality product and a company that will stand behind it. We have an optional quad pod support Gemini enclosure encompassing or enclosing the polar rotor and the LNA, and also the down converter in some cases, inside a weatherproof enclosure, allowing for a very rigid support. There is also a button hook feed available, allowing you to totally adjust the feed from the back of the dish. The Qualtronics mount has a greasable, self-aligning bearing, reducing wear to an absolute minimum. The mount also has an infinitely adjustable declination offset, allowing for precise trackability regardless of your geographic location. The elevation beam is manufactured from a 4-inch by 4-inch box tube, making it a very rigid beam. The yoke itself slides over a 3 1/2-inch outside diameter pole. This is standard on all of our mounts, from the 66-inch mount all the way up to the SS112. And this also includes our mesh antenna mount also. The reason we do this is twofold: to cut down on the inventory of poles, and more importantly, Say, for instance, your customer buys a 66-inch antenna system and later on decides he wants to go with a larger antenna. There's no need to put a larger pole in. Merely pull the mount off and slide the new mount for the other antenna system on the pole that's already in place at the job site. And this will greatly reduce installation time. The mount is secured to the reflector via a circular rear support pan, making it a very rigid mounting system. Considering the quality of the Qualtronics Nova stainless steel antenna, the strength and durability of the Nova mount, also incorporating the circular rear pan, and for the cost, the price to you of the stainless steel reflector systems, in comparison to the systems you're now using, it's really not that much more to go with something that's going to last and give you superb picture quality. Don't you think you owe it to yourself and to your customers to try one out? Give us a call. More than happy to talk to you.
Hi, I'm Jim Sund. Channel Guide gets with the program.
Hi, I'm Leslie Howard.
Hi, I'm Mary Covens.
Hi, I'm Dina Newberg.
Hello, I'm Pat Hennig.
Hello, my name's Catherine Edgar.
And this is Lloyd Covens with some of the Channel Guide crew here at the 1984 SAT Expo. Channel Guide gets with the program every week, 52 times a year. And our new publication, Galaxy One, gives you the best from the new used communication satellite. Our easy-to-read grid format and our monthly updated logs. And interesting ads and information. So for your free sample to Channel Guide or Galaxy One, call now. Operators are standing by. 1-800-654-3006. That's Channel Guide, a free sample copy by calling 1-800-654-3006.
Hi, I'm Jim Atkinson, and I'll be telling you about the free LNA that'll be available to you later in the show. So have your mailer close at hand so you know how to get your free 110-degree isolated 50 dB LNA. Stay tuned.
Now let's get an insight into Qualtronics, where they came from and where we are going.
The year was 1974. The satellite was Westar 1. The era of domestic satellite telecommunications was born. This beginning was, for the most part, unheralded, and but for an occasional via-satellite announcement during news or sports programming, went unnoticed by the public. But to a few individuals with the vision to see the potential of satellite communications and the courage to pursue this vision, 1974 was the beginning of the first decade of a new industry. Turner Broadcasting multiplied the viewership of an independent television station in Atlanta by utilizing satellite distribution, and the process created the internationally respected and profitable cable news network. ComSat increased its capacity for satellite uplinks by 800% in just 10 years. And Qualtronics Incorporated of Richland Center, Wisconsin, grew in less than 5 years to become a leader in consumer and commercial TVRO manufacture and installation. Recognizing a market for reasonably priced, high-quality TVRO systems, including dishes, mounts, and actuators, Qualtronics developed a family of products which met with immediate enthusiasm in the marketplace. Easy shipping, handling, and installation, plus unsurpassed performance, accuracy, and durability became hallmarks of the Qualtronics name. Through its commercial division, Qualtronics has installed dozens of systems in motels, hotels, resorts, and cable TV operations. By combining Qualtronics-produced antennas, mounts, and actuators with a top-quality line of electronic components and expert installation, Qualtronics has shown commercial clients the value of satellite communications and the improved profitability that comes with offering satellite television. For the TVRO dealer, Qualtronics supplies the entire range of products necessary to meet the growing demand for reasonably priced satellite reception systems. In addition to antennas, mounts, and actuators, Calltronics supplies receivers, low-noise amplifiers, IF filters, remote controls, feed horns, cables, connectors, and adapters. And to ensure efficient ordering and delivery, dealers use the toll-free 800 hotline when ordering from Calltronics. To improve dealer sales and service, Calltronics supplies dealer support products including advertising material, brochures, instructional manuals, catalogs, even a videotaped sales demonstration. In 1983, Calltronics introduced the world's first stainless steel hydroform TVRO dishes, the Nova SS Series. Now available in 3 sizes, 112-inch, 90-inch, and 66-inch, the production process utilizes a 1,000-ton hydropress to create the most accurate parabolic shapes available in TVRO dishes. Hydropressing eliminates the ridging effect caused by the spinning process used to produce other metal dishes. And stainless steel is noted for its rugged durability. So rugged, in fact, that Calltronics backs these dishes with a 10-year limited warranty. The process begins as 2 stainless steel sheets are joined together on a machine welder, then inspected to ensure a perfect seam. The sheet of steel is then shaped on the hydropress to form the low-noise, deep dish antenna. After hydroforming, the antenna is again inspected for accuracy. Then surplus material is removed, yielding a perfectly formed dish with the feel and finish that Satellite TV magazine has called absolutely superb, as smooth as silk. But the true test of any equipment in the TVRO industry is performance. And the Nova SS112 has proved its efficiency in independent testing conducted by Telstat Corporation of Houston, Texas. Telstat concluded, the SS112 proved to be a very efficient antenna at 64%. The antenna demonstrated good pattern integrity. The SS112 antenna system should perform at 2-degree spacing with negligible system performance degradation based on measured results. To better serve its dealers and meet the increasing demand for its products, Calltronics has established regional offices in Boulder, Colorado and Las Vegas, Nevada. And with its own fleet of trucks and service personnel, efficient delivery and professional assistance are part of the Calltronics quality package. Innovation has been at the foundation of Calltronics since its beginning, and research will continue to play an important role in the future. A new bearing mount for the SS112 with circular steel rear support and commercial self-aligning bearings of oil-impregnated sintered steel in a housing of carbon steel and cadmium is now ready for delivery. And the revolutionary Nova SS66, a 5-foot stainless steel antenna designed for 12 gigahertz reception, has demonstrated excellent results on 4 gigahertz signals. The Nova SS66 fills the need for good quality reception with limited space requirements on roofs, in cities, in campers, where space is at a premium. With improved power on some satellites such as Galaxy, the Nova SS66 answers the needs for a smaller antenna. It also carries Calltronics' full 10-year warranty. Calltronics will have the Nova SS66 packaged and available for delivery at the shows in Las Vegas. Superior performance combined with easy installation and exceptional durability, a complete line of accessories, and a reputation built on quality and service make Calltronics the logical choice for consumers, cable operators, commercial installations, and dealers.
Welcome to the world of Satellite TV Opportunities, the magazine that brings you inside information on successful marketing and sales techniques, details the latest in new technology, and lets you see how other dealers increase their sales and profits.
Satellite TV Opportunities magazine is the marketing techniques magazine for satellite TV dealers. Our single purpose is to help dealers increase their sales and their profits through improved marketing techniques.
Satellite TV Opportunities offers insight into the latest trends in marketing, profiles thriving businesses, and surveys what TVRO buyers are really after. Subscribe today by calling 1-800-922-2812. For $25, you get a full year's subscription to Satellite TV Opportunities, a magazine full of new ideas that will help your business thrive. 1-800-922-2812. Call today. MasterCard and Visa accepted.
Well, let's get into the program now by listening to two gentlemen from Houston, Glenn Messerschmidt and Peter Cole.
Hello, my name is Glenn Messerschmidt, and this is Peter Cole on my right. We're with Houston Tracker Systems. We'd like to thank Calltronics for the opportunity today to showcase our product, which is satellite antenna positioners. What we'd like to talk about next is the actuators, and there are various different types of actuator arms manufactured in the United States and overseas. We currently use Saginaw actuators, made by Saginaw Steering Gear. However, in the near future here, we're going to be offering an optional actuator that is manufactured specifically for us overseas. And we have a sample of that actuator right here in front of us. This will be optional. We will still carry the Saginaw actuator. And this is a sample of an actuator that we will soon be offering to our distributors and dealers and the public. What we'd like to also talk about now is the differences in actuators themselves. There's been a lot of questions asked about what is the difference between an Acme and a ball, etc., and electronics in all the actuators.
Okay.
Because everybody has different electronics. Peter, would you talk about that now?
I'd be glad to. The actuators, there's two basic families of actuators that are manufactured that the different companies use. There's an Acme type and a ball type. Now, there's a very big difference in these, and it has to do with the efficiency and such, and I'll discuss that right now. This is a ball type, and what that means is that you have a threaded bar that has a concave thread in it, and ball bearings actually float the threaded bar on a nut. Now, this is a recirculating actuator, recirculating ball type actuator. So what that means is there's 50 ball bearings that actually float the threaded bar held inside the actuator on it, and those 50 ball bearings actually recirculate through the system when you move the actuator. Now, the advantage to that system is that you get much higher efficiency, and that means that for the same amount of stress on the motor or load on the motor, you'll move a much heavier dish, or if you use just the same dish, then you'll have less strain on the motor, and the actuator moves faster because of the pitch of the threads on this threaded bar. So the actuator will move faster, and it will be more powerful if you use the ball type. Now, the other type is the Acme, and what it is it's merely a threaded nut that this bar is against, and the two of them come in direct contact. You have higher friction, and you have a higher pitch. You have a lower pitch on the threaded bar, so it takes longer to move at the same amount of distance. And basically the rule that we use for deciding whether or not you could use an Acme or a ball is that if it's anything smaller, 10 feet or smaller, you would be able to use an Acme or a ball on it. And if it's larger than 10 feet, we encourage that you do use the ball type actuator. Now, on the Saginaw actuators, the gold actuator is the ball type, and the silver actuator is the Acme type. That's how you can tell the difference. So the one we have here that's gold is a ball type. Now, on the new actuator that we're having manufactured overseas, the silver type, this is a chromed actuator. This chrome actuator will be the ball type, and the other one, the Acme, will be a highly polished metal. Okay, the other breakdown of actuators is the type of sensing that they have. Either they have a potentiometer sensor, or they have a Hall effect reed switch or something like that to sense the position. I'd like to talk a little bit about that in the sense that if you have a potentiometer, I've got one here I can show you. It's a small blue device that goes inside of the actuator and actually rotates as the dish moves in or out, as the actuator moves in or out. So just depending on the position of the potentiometer, you'll get a certain indication of the position of the actuator. Now, we, on our Tracker 2 and 2 Plus, use the potentiometer type of sensing. The reason we do that is because, for the simple logic behind it, it's less expensive for us to offer the potentiometer on the lower end products, and it makes for a very reliable system and yet an inexpensive one. That's why we use the potentiometer on the lower end products. Now on the higher end products, we use the Hall effect sensor. And what it does is, as the actuator moves, it sends out a pulse every certain distance that it goes. It does that by using a small magnetic wheel inside of the actuator that rotates. The magnetic wheel rotates, and the Hall effect sensor senses the magnets passing it and tells the control box that it's moved a certain distance. So inside of a pot positioned actuator, the number is stored inside of the actuator, and on a Hall effect type positioned unit, you then have the memory stores the position. So the position is stored in the memory on a Hall effect sensor device or on a pulse position device, and on a pot position device, the position of the actuator is stored just by the physical position of the pot inside the actuator. Okay, any questions about that? Yes?
One question that I would have would be, what kind of safeguards does each of them have against, like lightning or something of that sort?
Okay. Okay, the question is what type of protection does the unit have against lightning damage and that type of thing? The Hall effect sensor is a very small device, and it's highly sensitive to electrical spikes. So what we do to protect it, I don't have a board here to show you, but we put transorbs inside of each actuator across the Hall effect sensor. And we started doing this a while back, and it has reduced the breakdown of the Hall effect sensors from lightning or other static pulses very greatly. Now, I would say that you could expect a Hall effect sensor, maybe 1 out of 100 systems, to have a Hall effect sensor go every so often. And because of that, we simply will send a Hall effect sensor if somebody calls us up out in the mail. You just give us the name and address, and we'll send a Hall effect sensor out. But we do have transorbs to protect the Hall effect sensors, and they are much more reliable than they were in the past. Now, I'd like to talk also about the control box, go into the control box and what it has for lightning protection. We have become very interested in protecting our units from lightning so that we don't ever have to service them. And we feel as if the public will benefit from this merely because they will never have any downtime from the unit having service. Inside of the Tracker 2 and 2 Plus, we use MOS metal oxide varistors to protect the inputs and the bridge rectifier and such inside of the Tracker 2 and 2 Plus. Now, when we started putting this into the 2 and 2 Plus, we had a great reduction in the number of units that were coming back. The numbers were extremely small to start, but this makes the Tracker 2 and 2 Plus extremely well protected from lightning, and it's very unoften that there's any problem related with the Tracker 2 or 2 Plus because of those MOVs, which are the same surge protectors that computer equipment uses to protect it from power spikes. Inside of the Tracker 4, we have MOVs of different voltages on all of the inputs and outputs on the unit. This protects the unit extremely well, and you can actually physically spark to the inputs on the Tracker 4 and with high voltage, and it is very unoften that there's any problem occurring from that. So there is transorbs and MOVs to protect from lightning, and if the customer uses the shielded wire that we recommend, there's a very remote chance of them having any problem with lightning on our equipment. Okay, I'd like to turn it now back over to Glenn, and if anybody else has any questions or anything, we'll cover those.
Okay. Thank you, Peter. What I would like to talk about a little bit is the sizes of actuators that we offer. You can buy the actuators presently in 18-inch, 24-inch, and I believe this is an 18-inch, by the way, right here, 18-inch actuator. You can purchase them in 24-inch, 36-inch, and 52-inch. Now, in the 18-inch, we offer them in both Acme and ball screw type actuators. The 24 and the 36-inch are ball, and the 52-inch is an Acme. We have thought recently about adding other lengths of actuators. We've had some requests from people who would like to see us have a 12-inch actuator. We're presently considering it, and you may see that added to our line sometime in the future. Additionally to sizes, we'd like to talk a little bit about our hardware kit, which is here on the table. And Peter is, again, very familiar with the hardware kit. We have made extensive changes in it over the past few months, attempting to continually improve it. People have said that actuator mounting hardware ends up bending their tube, etc. We have gone ahead and added swivel balls not only to the saddle clamp and to the end of the tube swivels. And Peter, maybe you can explain some of the philosophy behind adding the swivels.
That. Now, we do recommend that you use the ball joints that we provide at both ends of the tube, on the saddle clamp and on the end of the tube. The reason for this is because as an actuator moves in and out, it is only designed to move linearly outward and inward. So any lateral movement, if I have the pivot points off, then as I move back and forth, the actuator would be required to actually bend. If you use the ball joints, those will pivot and you will not have any problem with putting a lateral force on the actuator. The lateral force would cause the tube either to bend or would cause scarring on the tube and wearing of these different protective devices, the shaft wipe in this case. So that you always want to have the ball joints in there to prevent any lateral movement, because that lateral movement, if it doesn't bend the tube, it will scar the tube and eventually cause the unit to fail prematurely. Also, on this hardware, we make it very universal. We provide it with a 7/8 inch hole here, and then we provide two different size reducers. One is down to a 3/4 inch size that I can just slip in there, or down to a 1/2 inch size. So that with this, I can put in either of these reducers to either go from 7/8 to 3/4 or down to a 1/2 inch. So that if I have a 7/8 inch pin or a 3/4 or a 1/2 inch, I can put this actuator using this hardware on any of those. And we also have some special hardware for different dishes, and that's like the Paraclips or an ADM would have special hardware. We have special hardware available so that you can install this on that system. Now, we leave the ultimate responsibility of the installation of this system onto a specific dish. We leave that up to the dealer at the end point. So the dealer is the final one that has to determine how to install it on the different dishes. And if they want to call up and talk to our service department about this, there's a number that they can call and discuss anything and become familiar with what they might want to keep in mind in the installation of this on the different dishes.
Okay. Does anyone else have any additional questions they'd like to ask concerning our product line, actuators, etc.? Yes, sir.
One thing I do see, and you didn't mention in your hardware kit, but is there some type of release? We have a lot of cold weather here. We have thawing, and then we have maybe water or moisture that may get inside the jack and may cause some kind of problems with freezing or something like that. Is there some kind of release hole or something?
Yes, I can answer that question. We have recommended that people drill holes in certain locations, and this involves 3 holes on the actuator itself, down near the bottom, down in this area here, and this area here. Now, in the instruction manual, it shows where those holes are to be exactly drilled. However, recently, we've started drilling all the holes ourselves in the actuators, so nobody is going to have to drill holes anymore with our product. And I'm happy to say that that no one needs to worry about drilling the holes anymore, because they will come with the holes, and the holes will let the water, if any gets in, will let the water drain out. And Peter, you want to mention something on that?
Yes, at this time I would like to go into the reason why the drain holes are necessary. What you need to keep in mind is that you have a linear actuator here that's going to be expanding and compressing or retracting. And when it does that, the air has to flow in and out of the unit in some way. Now, what we are now providing with each actuator is a shaft wipe that goes at the top of the actuator right here to keep any water from sluicing down the inside tube and getting into the actuator. And also we're providing a collar that goes on the neck of the motor assembly to prevent any water from sluicing down the tube and getting inside of the motor. Now, you can see, though, that as the actuator would extend and retract, the air has to flow in and out. Because of that, we have a hole that we recommend to drill and drill on all the actuators that we sell that's 1.25 inches above the crimped area in the tube, right here. That lets any internal pressure be released or air go in so that the unit will not have a vacuum in it or a pressure in it. Now that will prevent the unit from having water pulled in if it's moved in the rain or there's water standing on it when they move the actuator. So that's why we drill that hole. And the other holes are to merely provide a flow of air so that the humidity does not build up and you don't have condensation occurring and becoming actual water. It keeps it dry in there, because if you seal that up, if you put a boot over the motor assembly and seal all of that up, then the condensation will build up to the point of water and cause damage to the motor. And so that's why we recommend the drain holes and we drill them in the actuators.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Is there any other questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Do you supply the cabling, or can you use the all-in-one cabling, or what's the situation with cabling?
The cable, we do sell cable. It is an accessory or an option. If you order the system as a distributor, you will get it without cable, although you can request it. You can buy it in lengths of 100 feet, 200 feet, or 1,000-foot rolls. In regard to your question on all-in-one cable, wire used to come, or cable used to come standard with our systems. However, due to the popularity of all-in-one cable, in the recent 6 months to a year, we made cable an accessory. And yes, you can use all-in-one cable.
What is the type of wire that is required on each of the actuators?
Okay.
Okay. Peter,
I think I can discuss that. The question was what type of wire is required for the different systems. Now, because of the way the manufacturing works and such, it's cheaper for us to buy all of the same kind of wire. Now, the Tracker 2 uses only 4 wires, okay? 2 for the potentiometer and 2 for the motor. Now, the Tracker 4, with its Hall effect sensor, has 3 wires for the sensor and 2 wires for the motor. These are 36-volt DC motors, and if you use the ball type actuator, you don't have to use as heavy of a gauge of wire also, because it's more efficient. The wire that is used on the Hall effect sensor needs to be a twisted pair with a shield. And many times people avoid using the shield. If they do that, then they're putting themselves into jeopardy about getting extra pulses in the line and received by the tracker when they move it. So to ensure good positioning, you always want to use the shielded wire, twisted pair with a shield, and that can be just as thin as you want for the Hall effect sensor. And then the motor wire needs to be about 14 gauge or 16 gauge, depending on the length of the run. And that's just 2 wires.
All right, thank you. In closing, I would like to say a couple things. One is that our company is continually making improvements in our product, and we're continually working on new things to offer the public in the way of antenna positioners. So during the next year, I think you will see some new products from us and improvements in our current ones. I would like to also thank, right now, Calltronics for the opportunity here today to present this program and showcase our product. We believe that it is the finest antenna positioner on the market today, bar none. And I thank you very much. And Peter thanks you also.
Are you confused about satellite programming guides? Are you tired of monthly inaccurate guides that are big and bulky and about as much fun to use as a city phone book? How about tabloids with hard-to-read print, incomplete movie listings that are about as easy to use as a road map? Or newspaper guides with confusing grids that fall apart in your hands? There is an alternative. Onset, the easy-to-read, easy-to-use weekly programming guide with more movies and sports. Best of all, Onset is only $39. That's right, 52 issues for only $39. But don't take our word for it. We'll send you a free copy of Onset, and you can judge for yourself. And if you're a dealer, ask about our dealer program. Make your customers happy and make money. Call Onset now. Toll free 1-800-438-2020 or write Onset, Box 2347, Shelby, North Carolina, 28150. Onset, you've seen the rest. Now try the best.
Hello. Most of you dealers that have installed 2 receivers on 1 satellite receiving antenna are familiar with what we have here. 2 60 dB isolators, 1 power divider, and a power block. The side terminal for powering up the power block, which in turn would power the LNA. Many of you would like to have something much less complicated. We at Qualtronics have found that such device for you. Here's Dale to show you and tell you a little bit more about that.
This evening I would like to introduce a new product. It's our multi-coupler. This multi-coupler enables any 2 receivers to be operated from the same dish. Now before it was always necessary to use microwave splitters, isolators, and power blocks. Those have been eliminated by incorporating them all into the multi-coupler. The multi-coupler is a passive device. It requires no power and offers very low loss to the signal. It automatically splits the signal. We have 1 input and 2 outputs. It offers 60 dB of isolation, and there is an automatic power selection circuit built into this unit, which automatically selects the highest DC potential being offered it and sends that one up to power up the LNA. Now for instance, if I am running a Luxor system on this side and a Drake system on this side, the Drake is going to offer 15 volts, the Luxor 18. This unit will sense that, automatically select the 18 volts to send on up to power up the LNA. Should the Luxor have power removed and the 18 volts dropped, this unit will sense that and automatically switch over to the 15 volts coming from the Drake to use to run up to power up the LNA. This effectively eliminates having to have a master receiver which must be left on at all times to power up the LNA. Again, this multi-coupler enables any 2 receivers to be operated on 1 dish while eliminating any interference between the 2. This feature offers outstanding potential in the display area. If you have 1 or 2 dishes and you want to display 2 or 4 sets of electronics, this will enable you to do just that. This feature also offers great potential in the technical department. I can run in a 3.7 to 4.2 gigahertz baseband signal into the bench and effectively have 2 baseband signals to work with on the bench. Also, think of the customer who has an existing system but wishes to add another receiver. Here is our multi-coupler. And now back to Joe.
Now we're going to be asking Dale Davenport to come back again, this time to discuss tracking of the antenna, a very important subject.
Today I'd like to go over the procedure I normally go through to track a system. There are certain angles on a mount which are very critical to have set up properly to begin with. They will get you much closer to a correct starting point. One of these angles is the angle of what we call the elevation beam. The setting up of this plane so that it is true north and south is very important also. Okay, when I set my north-south, the E-beam has to be pointing north and south. I take a compass, step back approximately 20 or 30 feet, and move around until I have the south end of my compass needle pointed directly at this pole. I then have an assistant turn the dish until this plane is as true north and south as possible. I then lock these two bolts down to hold it in place. Another angle that I mentioned that was critical is this angle here. When measuring off of the horizontal, when using the horizontal as a reference, this angle may be set to the latitude of your location. I measure off the horizontal and I set the angle to 90 minus the latitude. When measuring this angle, I am measuring off of the vertical. I am currently sitting at about 48 degrees. So I should lower this. I am at 43 degrees, 90 minus 43 is 47. So I will lower this angle to my 47. Okay, I now have it sitting at 47 degrees up from the vertical. At this point, we have adjusted our north and south plane to be correct. We have adjusted our elevation angle to be correct. And I will now adjust my azimuth adjustment. Now, in this area, I know from experience that SATCOM 3 or Galaxy 1 are in the southwest direction. The way my mount is situated, if I go 45 degrees to the right of south, I will be facing southwest. This system incorporates a Houston Satellite Tracker 4, which enables me to control every feature of the system from right here. I can move the east and west until I am pointing approximately southwest. Okay, at this time I should be able to turn my equipment on and have satellite. One then scans the channels to identify which satellite he has found. I should be on SATCOM 3, and now I'm on Galaxy 1. For beings I am very familiar with SATCOM 3, I am going to take it eastward to SAT 3, manually scanning until I find a channel and peek to that channel. Okay, at this point, one should have a remote tuning meter which gives a relative signal strength reading. You can see as I move east and west, the level fluctuates. At this point, I use the meter for tuning. While watching the meter, I will raise and lower the dish for a peak signal. Okay, in raising it, I find that I lose signal, so I must lower the dish for a peak signal. I have now fine-tuned the azimuth adjustment and the elevation adjustment on this satellite. SATCOM 1, I start out with SATCOM 3 or Galaxy, one of the lower satellites, the most western satellites. At this point, I have peaked all of the adjustments on this satellite. I will go eastward until I get as far up or as far eastward as I can and still have pictures. Okay, the pictures are beginning to get a few sparkles in them, which means that I am not tracking properly. I will continue eastward until I can just barely get pictures, but I am on an upper satellite. I am on one of my upper satellites. I do not know which, but at this point it does not matter. I have pictures. I find satellite by using pictures. At this point, I will use a tuning meter to get myself properly tuned into this satellite. At this point, I use only the azimuth adjustment. Once I have fine-tuned that adjustment, I will check my elevation. Now this is the important step. This is the one which will tell you which way to move the entire mount and dish to correct to get a true north and south reading. At this point, if I adjust my elevation upwards to get a stronger signal strength and therefore a better picture, I must loosen the yoke bolts and move the entire dish eastward, because I am not on true north and south. True north and south lies slightly eastward of where I am now. if I were to have to lower this elevation to get a better signal strength and therefore a better picture, I would have to turn the entire dish westward. I will now adjust my elevation and we'll see which way I am off. I am bringing the dish up, and at this point I see that I am gaining. So in moving the dish upward, I gained in signal strength. Now this tells me that I must turn the entire dish eastward. At this point, I scribe a small mark on the yoke and the pole. Where the satellites are out there are 22,000, roughly 300 miles. A small movement down here makes a big difference up there. So I would scribe a mark as a reference point and turn the system a 32nd to a 16th of an inch. Okay, I'm going to move the entire thing eastward because I had to move my elevation upward. At this point, I just return to SATCOM 3 and repeak and start the process all over again. Okay, on SATCOM 3, I want to tune the system using all of my adjustments. I will start using my east and west. I have pictures at this point, so I will go by the meter. I then fine-tune my elevation adjustment. Okay, at this point, I am peaked on SATCOM 3. Now I will again start going eastward to the easternmost satellite I can find and redo the process. I have now made it as far as SATCOM 4, and at this point I will adjust my elevation or my azimuth adjustment only. I do have pictures, so I will use the meter to adjust. Okay, I have now fine-tuned the azimuth adjustment. I will again return to my elevation and see if I am still off in my north and south or if I must correct for it. I am still finding that in raising the dish, I am gaining in picture. Therefore, I must still move the dish eastward. And return to SATCOM 3 and start the process over again. I repeat this process until I can go from SATCOM 3 to SATCOM 4 using only the azimuth adjustment, and no elevation adjustments are necessary to get a better picture. Once I have performed the sequence of peaking on SATCOM 3 and going to, say, SATCOM 4, moving my elevation to tell me which way I need to move for my north and south orientation, once I have done that enough times that going from SATCOM 3 to SATCOM 4, the elevation adjustment causes me to lose in either way that I adjust it, I know that at that point I am tracking. Now I have peaked this on SATCOM 3 and I have good pictures. I will now run it to SATCOM 4 and we will make one final check to see that it is tracking properly. And at this point I do have clear pictures, which tells me that I am in fact tracking.
We're going to call on Jim Atkinson, the sales manager for Qualtronics, to talk about pricing, a very important subject to all of us.
And now for the exciting part of the evening. The free LNA offer, it's true. Qualtronics is giving away free 110-degree isolated 50 dB out LNAs. And here's how you get yours. Merely ordering the KYI Trans 10 mesh mechanical package. This is the mount, the mesh antenna, and the button hook assembly. It's a complete mechanical package. And the price is listed in the flyer. Now this offer is limited to the first 110 dealers that order. This is not for homeowners. You must be a dealer to get this price. Remember, it is limited so you should call right away before your LNA is gone. Now these orders must be prepaid, and the LNA is free with the KTI Trans 10.
Calltronics is proud to announce we are now distributors for quality Luxor products. We here at Calltronics are delighted to now offer the great line of Luxor equipment and to provide a service center for those products. For more information, call our 800 numbers. The Nova M120 mesh antenna, it's new, and Calltronics is happy to introduce it here. It's a new concept in satellite antenna design. Simple, clean lines with easy-to-install panels. Just 1 hour for assembly. UPS shippable anywhere in the U.S. Precision die formed with extruded ribs for parabolic accuracy. The M120 is a full 10-foot dish for maximum gain with an FD ratio of 0.28 and a full 5-year limited warranty. The light weight of 165 pounds permits simple rooftop installations. Built solid and tough with a survival wind load of 120 miles per hour thanks to its 70% open area. It comes in black or aluminum. You'll be looking through it in your neighborhood soon. The M120 joins the Calltronics line of celebrated stainless steel antennas. The Nova SS Series, 66, 90, and 112. All are one-piece, smooth as silk, non-corrosive, extremely durable, and all have a 10-year warranty. For more information, call our 800 numbers. To help celebrate the new products, Calltronics is offering a sweepstakes, and you may be the winner. The prize is a complete satellite system. On a 3x5-inch card or plain piece of paper, print your name, address, and phone number. Then indicate whether you're a dealer or consumer by printing dealer or consumer on the card. That's all. Send the entry to Calltronics, Box 637, Richland Center, Wisconsin, 53581. The sweepstakes top prize, the satellite TV system, will include a rich black M120 mesh antenna, a quality Luxor 9550 receiver, coupled with a Luxor 9534 actuator for effortless satellite selection. 2 Luxor remote eyes to give you complete command of satellite and channel selection from 3 locations in your home. Also included, a 100-degree Avantech low-noise amplifier and a P1 polar rotor by Chaparral. The Luxor 9550 receiver has a built-in Chaparral polar rotor control and modulator for vertical and horizontal polarization, signal strength LED display, stereo matrix, and direct systems with narrow and wide band deviation. Low threshold for video excellence, plus Dolby dynamic noise reduction and a 2-to-1 audio expander. It helps make this a quality system, and it's the prize in the Calltronics sweepstakes. This offer is void where prohibited by law. Shipping, delivery charges, and taxes are not included in the offer. Enter today to be eligible to enjoy a beautifully efficient Calltronics satellite receiving system by Christmas. Deadline for entry is December 1st, 1984, when the drawing will be held. But enter today. Great products, great opportunities. Another reason to depend on Calltronics for quality antenna systems.
I'm back again, and I'd like to thank you all for watching the program tonight, and to remind you of the next programming of the video newsletter. We are changing our time to the daytime so that when you're at work you'll be able to watch it. Starting in November, it'll be every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Satcom 4, Transponder 16. I hope you'd enjoy the show.
Wait a minute, Jim. We've got an extra special.
Whoa. Well, this sounds amazing. Almost too good to be true. On this special, if this price is right, a Maxim 007 receiver with a polar rotor 1, a 7½ foot mild steel antenna with the Calltronics bearing mounts, including the circular rear support pan, programmable hydraulic actuator, and a 110-degree 50 dB out LNA. And I'm going to tell you the price because it's here, $10.95. And that includes a programmable actuator, a receiver that has a polar rotor switch built into it, a polar rotor 1, a 110-degree LNA with a bearing mount. That's here. Call in for yours. There can't be many of these left. Call the toll-free number. The lines will be busy, so if the lines are, call back later. And once again, next month will be every Tuesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Satcom 4, Transponder 16. Tune in to the KTI video newsletter for good deals and a good deal more for you. Thank you for watching the show, and have a good evening.